and empty the city so they can come back to it. It's very, very critical city, very, very important location.
Unrelenting volleys of shells struck around Ras Lanuf, which the rebels have held for just over a week, but not for much longer. Convoys of machine gun-mounted vehicles fled. There was panic and confusion, and the shells continued to fall. The barrages are quite intensive now. Something like 15, 20 shells are going every few minutes. There seems to be a strategy here to try and hit the road to the east of the town and stop reinforcements coming in or people escaping. From the skies, the aerial threat was directed at the centre of the opposition build-up in the centre of town.
Bombs, see them dropping. See them dropping.
Two bombs hit nearby, a deadly signal of intent.
Okay, bring the car outside.
From our vantage point nearby, we became the target as Gaddafi troops came to about 70 metres of our position. And sprayed our vehicle with bullets. Our escape with a shot-out tyre was touch and go. Ras Lanuf was hit by a two-pronged ground attack from Gaddafi troops laying down blanket fire. Many rebels were killed.
Plenty people is dead inside. Plenty. I don't know number, but I think number is up. Hospital is bombed.
The retreating makeshift rebel army withdrew to lick its wounds and mourn its dead.
Where is
the European Union? Where are the Muslims? They're killing us and Gaddafi's finishing us off. All the youth have been killed and everything's been blown up. A lot of people have died.
Everyone had wondered why Gaddafi's forces had not hit back in force in eastern Libya. On Thursday they did. It leaves them in a commanding position in a strategic area of the country. Where that leaves the opposition forces is anyone's guess. Tony Bertley, AlJazeera, Ras Lanuf, Libya.
Well, at a meeting of the Gulf Cooperation Council in Saudi Arabia, Arab nations said they'd support a no-fly zone and want to establish ties with the Libyan opposition.
When it comes to Libya, I think the regime has lost its legitimacy. We support the no-fly zone. We also support contact with the National Council in Libya. It is time to discuss the situation with them, and the Security Council should shoulder its responsibility. It is important to impose the no-fly zone. The GCC already announced this, but I think there should be international support.
Muammar Gaddafi's son, Saif al-Islam, in his latest interview, has warned the rebels they face defeat. Imran Khan reports.
If they want to support the militia, do it. But I will tell you from now, you're going to lose. We will win. And we're not afraid of the American fleet, NATO, France, European. This is our country. We live here, we die here.
Defiant words from Saif al-Gaddafi, the son of the Libyan leader.
To those terrorists.
The rhetoric hasn't changed. The rebels are simply terrorists and the Libyan nation is united. It's a theme he further explores, saying that pro-Gaddafi demonstrators make up the vast majority of Libyans.
2 days ago, have you seen thousands of people marching the streets and the squares? You saw them early in the morning?
Yes.
This is the real picture of Libya.
But even when announcing the return of captured Dutch soldiers, he allows himself a slight smile, a sign perhaps that confidence is high in the government camp.
So we captured the first NATO soldiers. We're sending them back home, but we're still keeping their helicopter, the armed helicopter.
On the ground, though, it's a confused picture. The tiny town of Bin Javed has seen fierce fighting and no real picture of who's winning. The jets still fly overhead as talk on whether to enforce a no-fly zone dominates the international agenda. Perhaps, though, Gaddafi's last words are his most telling.
Libya is not a piece of cake. We are not a Mickey Mouse.
Fighting words indeed. Imran Khan, AlJazeera.
France and Britain have issued a joint statement to the European Council saying the EU should prepare to support the Libyan Opposition National Council. Both David Cameron and Nicolas Sarkozy repeated calls for Gaddafi to step down immediately. France had earlier recognised the Benghazi-based Opposition Council as Libya's rightful government. And the US Secretary of State has helped boost the cause of the Libyan opposition. Hillary Clinton says she'll meet with its representatives in Washington and when she travels to Egypt and Tunisia next week.
Now, in Libya, at the same time, a dictator is denying his people that same path forward. And we are standing with the Libyan people as they brave bombs and bullets to demand that Gaddafi must go now without further violence or delay. Our diplomats are hard at work with our allies and partners, including in the United Nations, NATO, the African Union, the Arab League, the Gulf Cooperation Council, to isolate, sanction, and pressure Gaddafi to stop the violence against his own people, and to send a clear message to those around Gaddafi who continue to enable this horrific attack on his own people, that they too will be held accountable if they commit crimes against the Libyan people.
Security forces in Saudi Arabia have opened fire during a protest in the country's east. The Saudi Interior Ministry says 2 protesters and a policeman were injured, but it says officers only fired into the air. Bernard Smith reports.
A second day of protests in the eastern Saudi Arabian city of Qatif. This footage is from YouTube and apparently shot on Thursday, although it can't be independently verified. What sounds like the crackle of gunfire comes from the distance. Saudi police are reported to have opened fire to disperse the crowd. At least 2 people were injured. This restive region is home to mainly Shia Muslims. Neighbouring Bahrain is 70% Shia and has been racked by weeks of protests. These scenes are just the sort of contagion feared by Saudi Arabia's Sunni Muslim leaders. And so, in a region where most rulers have extremely deep pockets, the Gulf Cooperation Council has decided to try and buy itself out of trouble. Bahrain and Oman are to benefit from a multi-billion-dollar aid package from their richer neighbours.
$10 billion for the Kingdom of Bahrain and $10 billion for the Sultanate of Oman. We believe that this is an ambitious program, but it also shows the strong support that comes from the GCC countries to the Sultanate of Oman and to the Kingdom of Bahrain.
In protests in Qatif on Wednesday, the crowd chanted "Down with the regime" and "No Sunni, no Shia, we are Muslim." But the Saudi Sunni leadership is deeply suspicious of the role of Shia powerhouse Iran. There is a call for protests across Saudi Arabia on Friday, despite an official ban. Witnesses in the capital, Riyadh, say riot police have started patrolling around shopping malls and main roads. Bernard Smith, Al Jazeera.